It was my first year in college. My family had just departed, and I had just completed moving everything into my room. Later that day, my roommate arrived, and I realized straight away that this kid was the most socially incompetent person I'd ever encountered. I introduced myself as Dan, extended my arm for a handshake, hesitated, glanced down at my arm as if you didn't understand what I was saying, then chuckled and said, "Oh," and gave me an almost dead fish handshake. I had to ask him for his name, since he didn't give me his name when we shook hands. I attempted to have a small chat, but he basically said yes or no to my inquiries, sometimes uncomfortably chuckling or smiling. We were both seated on our beds with our computers, not talking to each other, within minutes. I was irritated and intended on getting a new roommate. Anyone could outperform Dale. I assumed Dale was simply an extremely uncomfortable youngster, but I quickly discovered he was much more. I met some of the other students on my floor, and they seemed nice enough. After walking about campus the first night, I returned to my room to find Dale in the same position he was in when I left. I said, "What's up, Dale?" And, to my astonishment, he didn't respond. It was 9:30. I had nothing to do, so I switched off the light on my side of the room and went to bed. I didn't fall asleep right away, even though Dale remained on his laptop until 3 a.m., when he eventually closed it. I fell asleep fast, but I awoke within an hour. The curtains in our room had been opened, and the moonlight streaming in revealed everything, including Dale sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at me. "Dale, what are you doing?" I got up, wiped my eyes, and inquired. He apologized again and laid down. When I awoke the following morning, Dale had already gotten up. It seemed like he was leaving the room for the first time. It was a Saturday, the first Saturday of the year, which meant orientation and all the other campus events. My group was strolling past the school gardens during orientation. "What is that kid doing in there?" I heard a few kids ahead of me ask. Dale was actually sitting in the soil behind a clump of shrubs, touching the bark of a tree with his hand when I saw what they were talking about. I'm sure the orientation leader didn't see, otherwise she would have said anything. I calmly passed by, saying nothing, finally informing the two kids I overheard that he was my roommate to start a discussion and perhaps make some friends. They expressed regret to me. We weren't sure whether it was proper to laugh or not, but we did. I became friends with those two youngsters, and we agreed to meet that night. When I returned to my dorm, I discovered that the school had recruited another roommate for me. Things seemed to be turning around swiftly for the better. That night, I left the room to meet up with the two youngsters I met, and when I returned, Dale was seated on the desk chair facing the door. "Oh, hello, what's up?" I said. He said nothing out of the ordinary. I sat on my bed and opened my laptop, only to find I hadn't locked it. I also discovered that all of my emails had been read. I was very sure I hadn't even read anything, yet a number of my files had been accessed. They had to have looked through my laptop. When I asked him whether he did, he answered loudly and without hesitation. I could read him like a book, half a second after I completed my inquiry. When I was gone, this weird child was physically rummaging through my computer. I knew he did it, but I didn't look into it. I was ready to go to bed, so when I walked into my bed to hunt for my pajamas, I saw that all of my clothes had been rearranged. I didn't say anything, since I knew I'd be out of there by tomorrow. The sound of a zipper woke me up in the middle of the night. I sat up when I saw Dale on the ground digging through my backpack. I switched on the light this time to confront him about it. He pretended to be stupid, stating, "I believe you have my toothbrush by mistake." He'd shown the closest thing to wits up to that time. I couldn't get personal with him because I knew he was lying and something was wrong with him. I met my new roommate the following day in the same building, and everything went well. After a pleasant talk with my roommate, who wasn't a social butterfly but was miles better than Dale, we both turned out the lights and went to bed for the third night in a row. I awoke at some strange hour of the night to a strange clicking noise. It wasn't consistent, but I'd hear it at least twice every 30 seconds. I got up hoping to find something innocent, like a heavy bag putting pressure on a weak floorboard or even a mouse, but as I scoped out the room, I realized the sound was actually coming from the other side of the door. The night light in the common area was always on, so when I looked through the peephole, I was certain the individual was attempting to open the door. I contacted the university police department's number, and they were in the common area in 5 minutes. Only then did I feel comfortable opening the door. I discovered the police with Dale in cuffs. I suspected it was him. Everything was shown to them. He was my old roommate searching through my belongings, so I transferred dormitories just to discover him attempting to break into my new dorm. They removed him. I'm not sure what became of him after that, but I never saw him again. He was either suspended or expelled for the semester. I went through the remainder of my academic years just like everyone else. However, the terrifying encounter I experienced with Dale still haunts me from time to time.